So it's time to start the report, and I'm very happy to have you today with us. And today we are going to talk about the programs for teachers that teach them providing services for the community. Highly inspiring and interesting report about university and community partnership. And I'm very happy to introduce colleagues from Sam Houston University College of Education, Dr. William Edgington and Dr. Andrey Koptelov. Colleagues, you're welcome. If you need my help with presentation, please let me know.
Okay, can we share the screen for our
PowerPoint? You would like to share? You would like me to share?
If it's possible, we can share it.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, how do you see our screen?
We see your screen and we hear you very well and see you also very well.
Okay, so I think that we are ready to start, and first Dr. Edgington will start our presentation and give you some overview of the program and provide different examples of this work.
Let me ask, is it necessary for Dr. Koptelov to translate, or should we just go ahead in English? Or how would you?
You could go ahead in English. We have translation, so it's up to you how it would be convenient.
Okay, thank you. It is an honor to be back in Moscow, even if it is virtually, for this conference. It is. We've had opportunities to visit with you and to be part of this, and it's very, very important. And we thoroughly have enjoyed working with everyone in the past. And what we're going to talk about this afternoon is a partnership between the university and the community in order to enhance education in the cities. It's something we feel very strongly about here at our university, Sam Houston State University. Let's see, did I do that right? Yes. As a matter of fact, the motto of our university is the measure of a life is its service. And so the service component takes place in everything we do as a university. It's very, very important to us. And so obviously we're very dedicated to community engagement. And as a matter of fact, at our university, we have the Center for Community Engagement, and it is a center designed to help faculty and staff across the university engage their courses with the community. And they provide support for scholarly activities. They help us design projects and help us work with the community in order to be of service to them. And again, what we found is the Center for Community Engagement has been a wonderful tool in helping us reach people in the community. Certainly, Dr. Koptelov and I in the College of Education find this incredibly important, and it works very well with our students, who are all teacher candidates. Part of the Center for Community Engagement is to help with our courses that will specifically design community engagement projects. We call our courses and our working in the community academic community engagement, or ACE. And it's a teaching method that combines community engagement and academic instruction, put them together, and we have ACE. As Dr. Koptelov will explain, these programs that we do in our individual classes are beneficial for the community, but certainly for our students as well, and how important that is. Each course, or I should say each instructor, has the option of having an ACE component within their individual course. That is, the instructor makes the decision if his students or her students will do community engagement projects. Totally up to them. The nature of the project can be determined by the instructor. It can also be determined by the students. It's all up to how the instructor wants to run their classes. Using ACE as our pedagogical tool, it encourages students to use the skills, the knowledge, and the dispositions that they've learned in the classroom to collaborate with community partners in making a difference in society. And our university every semester offers more than 200 courses that have ACE components. So in more than 200 courses, our students are engaged in the community in different projects. And we feel very strongly about that. Our university has received recognition for the strength of our community engagement and how terribly important that is. Obviously, Dr. Koptelov and I are in the College of Education, but the ACE courses are university-wide. History, political science, chemistry, biology, all have components in which their students may engage with members of the community. Excuse me. And more often than not, the nature of the project or working with the community is somehow related to the content field of the course or the content embedded in that course, the skills, the knowledge, and dispositions that they have picked up. Our students have been very receptive to working in the community. Our community as a whole has been very receptive to making the connections with the university. And it's just very, very important. What I'd like to do is briefly describe just a few examples of ACE projects within the community. And then Dr. Koptelov will speak specifically about a project that he has done with classes. And so, for example, one course, their ACE project was to create audiobooks in Spanish for children to take home. Many of our students' first language is not English. Their first language could be Spanish. It could be a number of different languages, but a number of the community in which we serve, Spanish is their first language. And so this project recorded audiobooks or made cassettes or CDs that the children can take home as they read the book and play the CD so that they can hear what they're reading, a very valuable literacy tool. And this was very, very well received. Another example is, again, because so many of our students have Spanish as their first language, another course provided parent night seminars in Spanish to inform families about school events and what was going on in the community. We found that this was very, very helpful because often, if English is not the first language of the family, they're not informed about what's going on, or they feel hesitant to ask too many questions. But this way, because the parent night, the family night is in Spanish, our students conducted it. It makes a difference in the community. Another example, another class had community garden projects. That is, they helped the children develop full-grown ecosystems. And these were constructed at school and in neighborhoods in order to help the children and the families in the neighborhood understand and grow their own food, just a complete ecosystem. And this was beneficial. on its most basic level, this is an example of a project that simply provided mentors and tutoring for children after school. Many children in urban settings have a family structure that is not conducive to one-on-one, to extra time, to not only academic tutoring and mentoring, but life tutoring and mentoring. And this was this is, like I say, at its most basic level, one-on-one, working and talking with children at community centers. It can also be done after school, at the school, because many schools have programs that the children stay much later after school and engage in programs until the family can pick them up later in the evening. And this has been beneficial now. Those are just a few examples of projects that our university has been involved with. Now I would like to turn it over to Dr. Koptelov, who will explain a project that he has been a part of.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon. As I can see, there are many Russian speakers at the symposium, and I can speak in Russian if it will be more convenient for the auditory. Yes. One day, one of our faculty member approached to me and talked to me about our course that I actually teach for numerous of years. And the course actually focused on integrating technology in teaching. And she asked me if our students who are taking this course can help senior citizens, old people who stay at the living facilities. And I said, what kind of help do you want? And she said, they need some kind of way to connect with their families and friends, and even with their schools that they attended many years ago. And she kind of asked me if we could find some kind of way with the students to provide this support. I visited this community. It's a very advanced 5-star senior living facility where old people live in a different settings. For example, it could be assisted living where people live with some particular assistant, for example, if they are handicapped or people with disabilities. They have some support and help from the staff and nurses. It could be independent living, where old people just stay for the some period of time, extended period of time, and they don't need any help. They just live on their own. And it could be a short-term staying for them. For example, they can come to this facilities for a short period of time and stay there. After that, go back home or to their relatives and kind of go back and forth, depends on their needs. So for the first time when we came to this community with my students, and actually before we came to this senior living facility with my students asked me a question. The question was very interesting. They said, okay, we are going to become a teachers and we are planning to teach the middle school, which is a 4th grade to 8th grade. How it's kind of connected, our preparation to become teachers and work with the old people, teaching them something that we've learned from your class about using technology in the classroom. And I told them that if you look at the teaching profession, you have different students. There is not even a couple of them that are the same. Every school has a many newcomers. It's fresh immigrants coming from different parts of the world. For instance, here in Houston, we have people spoken on about 100 years in dialects, just for Greater Houston area. So, and I explained them that working with the different people in different settings will help them to be better prepared for their teaching job in the classroom. And they became interested in this. They say, okay, let's go, let's try it. So our next class that was scheduled on some particular time was not in the classroom at the university. It was at the living facility for senior citizens. We met there, and we met with the administration of the living facilities and with the old people who live there. We found that even if they have all of the service at these particular places, they have food that is provided to them, they have all of the support from the medical workers, they have different kind of cultural activities, they can go to the theater, they can go visit different places like museums or parks. They still feel lonely. For the first day, we just talked to them. We talked to them about their living. They start telling us about themselves. And we understood that they still feel lonely because they are disconnected, especially those who are in a long-term living there or who need some assisted living. They feel disconnected, and they have very expensive, very advanced technology in their hands. Some of them had brand new iPhones, $1,000 plus, and they had iPads and different laptops that could be used for many advanced tasks, not just for emailing or picture looking. So students decided, we talked to the students, how do we start? And we decided that they do pre-assessment first to find out how much these senior citizens know and what they can do with technology. And this pre-assessment showed us that some of them know nothing about technology. Sometimes they even have some difficulties to make a phone call from a smartphone. And some of them are a little bit more advanced. They can make a phone calls, they can look some pictures on their phones, and they can go to internet. But almost none of them can communicate online using social networking, which is such an important part right now. And of course, they could not do any kind of deep searching. They try to find their interest as well during this pre-assessment. And we found that many of them would like to learn a little bit more about their former schools, their former universities, colleges, or high schools. They missed it. They would like to know how is everything going there. How does their school look like right now? Who is the principal? And many other interesting information about that. Students also found that the most important for them is to share pictures and videos and different kind of information, feelings sometimes with their relatives, especially grandchildren, their children. So after when we conducted this pre-survey, pre-assessment, students start designing a curriculum, developing some instructional materials, and think about how it is better to provide some teaching, some teachers' intervention. The problem that we immediately found is that old people have not that strong memory at all. So we could work with them one day in a week, and next week we can come and say, okay, do you remember what we discussed or showed to you last week? And they could not recall it. So based on this information that we immediately noticed, students start developing instructional materials. It's like a sheet of paper with a step-by-step directions for this people, for senior citizens, with the pictures, is the different kind of signs like an arrow. If you click on this button, go this step. If you are on this step, please try to find another button or whatever it needs to be done. And we will implement this activities. We printed all of the materials for them. They used it, and it looks like it helped. It helped a lot. They don't need to rely on their memory anymore. They just look at the paper. When they need to find some way to send a picture or receive a picture or send an email, they just can pull the paper that our students created and follow the steps. After that, students work with senior citizens independently or in a group of them. According to the rules, and actually we supported this approach, we did not allow students to work with the senior citizen one-on-one in their apartment, in their room. We prefer to work 2 students with 1 senior citizen, just in order to avoid any kind of misunderstanding or any kind of possible challenges for them, because old people are specific people. They are not like ordinary young people like our students. Sometimes they can work with those old seniors as in a group. They explain to them some basic concepts of use of technology, and they even ask questions. And it was very fascinating to see that senior citizens like to communicate in front of other residents. They like to provide their experience. They like to get a feedback and discuss. Finally, we found that some of them even ask our students, can you fix my laptop? Something does not work here. Or can you just clean my smartphone or my iPad because it's very slow? So they start asking their help, not just to teach them how to do some particular activities, some particular steps on their technology. They even ask their help to check their tools and maintain their tools in a certain way. And as a feedback, as a payback, one day when we came to this organization, to this living facility for senior citizens, they brought cookies. They brought different small cakes that they baked together for our students. And students were very, very touched by that. And they even asked about recipes, and both parts were very happy just to show their appreciation and the value of the work that we provided to them. What benefits that we found during this work? First of all, it was established a very good relationship with old people, and helping people. It's kind of part of the nature of teaching job, of course. They learn how to communicate and teach very different people with different needs and abilities, and sometimes with different attitude, because one day some person can be happy and funny to work with, but another day he could be sad or a little bit frustrated for any reasons. So students learn how to manage themselves and how to manage their skills and approaches working with different people in different situations. There were challenges. One of them I already mentioned about, it's a memory. For old people, memory is a big issue, and it's not something new, but we faced it immediately and try to overcome this challenge by doing some kind of handouts and different kind of supportive materials for them. Sometimes they are not very exciting to learn new content. Once they learn something, they're going to stay on it. They would like to kind of continue working what they've learned without any kind of stepping up, moving forward. Sometimes depends of their mood and depends of the situation, they can even give up. For example, if they send pictures to their grandchildren and grandchildren have not replied by a certain time, they decided that they're not valuable. And they said, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. They never replied to me. We kind of tried to encourage them to try it again and maybe ask questions. Why don't you reply? Well, do you have any issues or something like that? So we try to modeling some kind of situation that could happen in the classroom as well. Because sometimes children come to class and they are sad, they're frustrated, something was wrong at home. Maybe their parents had some arguments, or maybe somebody is sick at home. And depends of the attitude and the student's mood. Teachers has to be flexible, has to be able to modify instruction and find some individual approaches to students. This particular work taught our students to be prepared for their own classroom and for work with their students. And at the very end of our collaboration with this senior citizens, some of our advanced students brought a brand new technology, virtual reality, that they use for their gaming, and they offered some of the people from this facility to try them, and they were very excited about this. They by the end of this I don't want to say it experiment, but by the end of this new work and new activities for the senior citizens, they say that it was a very, very interesting and unusual day. They were happy. They said, we are happy today. We try something new. We never thought that we can try something new, something that is on the high age of technology. So it was also very fun and interesting. And it's all taught our students not too afraid to implement something that is challenging, advanced, brand new, and sometimes probably does not look like it can fit very well to the students, school students' work. So what we found, first of all, we found that students learn about different ethnicities. They learn how learning can be affected by age. What is the biggest challenge they can face working with the different people in different settings, in different situations? What modifications need to be done? How can they better create teaching and instructional materials based on the people's individual differences and their disabilities, I should say as well? And how to better communicate with old people? At the end of our observation, we found that students who are involved in this community partnership and specifically in this project that I just described a little bit more in details, we found that students demonstrated better attitude toward their education. They start learning much more harder. They ask more questions, and we've noticed that are interested in different aspects of the course and much more than it used to be before. They had definitely higher grades. We've noticed that most of them thinking about staying at college longer to obtain an advanced degree, for example, from bachelor's degree, go up to master's degree. They were more enthusiastic. They always shared funny stories about their work at this facility with these people. As I said, they were interested in learning, demonstrate patience and kindness, which is also very important for teachers. And they showed interest in research by doing pre-survey, pre-assessment, formative assessment, and summative assessment. They learn a little bit about research, about problem solving, about hypotheses, and all of these components. I think it's our time is almost over, and it's about this particular project and about the community partnership in our university. Do you have any questions?
Dear Professor Edgington, dear Professor Koptelov, many thanks for your presentation. I have a question. Could you please tell us how do you get involved community members in this project?
How they get involved, community members?
Oh, you're fine. You'd be amazed at how simple it was to get people in the community or businesses or living facilities for senior citizens interested. It really was just a matter of going and asking and explaining what was going to be going on. And they are all for it. We know in education how important it is to connect a third grader, a fifth grader, a secondary student, to connect them with the community, to get them involved in the community, because they will be an integral part of the community as they become adults and even sooner. And so an opportunity that people in the community have to work with us was very easy. I am not aware of any entity in the community that said no. They all seem to be very, very anxious to work and to make that connection with the university.
Thank you very much for your answer. And one more question. Do your students choose by themselves what type of project work they will do, what type of practice they will do, and with what community group they would work?
They can work on different projects, depends on the course. For instance, the course that I used to teach, and actually teach it during this semester as well, it's focused on integrating technology for middle school teachers. And it was just one project focused on community engagement that we offered by that time, at this time. So they did not have any choice. Which one do they have to be involved in, but they have other courses. And as Dr. Edgington mentioned at the very beginning, we have 200 plus courses that do this community engagement work, and that kind of are a part of this academic and community engagement activities. So, for example, if students want to be involved in a different project, for example, gardening, some other professor that teach a different course, for example, science, they might have this particular project, and students can be more focused on the gardening as well. Also, what I did with my students, I combined them in groups, pair or teams, and they work together, not just by themselves. So sometimes, for example, if some of the students would like to be focused more on technical details of the project, they can be focused more on technical details. Other students who would like to be involved in more kind of relationship with the senior citizen, they can work with this senior citizen more than other students. So it could be flexible during the project, but as I said again, from different courses, they can be involved in different types of projects.
And
okay.
I was going to say, if I might add, we serve a wide area, a very large area with many communities, many cities, many urban areas. And so we're not all trying to do it in one little community. It's spread out over a very wide area.
Okay, thank you very much. And what do you think, with what age group of the community members should be mostly involved? For example, we discussed, we concentrated the second part of the report on the senior citizens, but what do you think, what is more important? For example, to work more with the children or middle-aged group or senior citizen group of the community?
Go ahead. I believe that it could be in any areas, in any groups, any age. For example, Dr. Edgington described a project like a tutoring, and tutoring could be done starting from kindergarten. For instance, we are working on a research that focused on prevention of addiction to smartphones and internet. And this work can be done only at the very early age, kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, elementary school. And of course, in our college in particular, we have students who are learning how to become a teacher for different school levels. For example, elementary school, they can go and tutoring the elementary school or middle school or high school. It could be a robotics competition where students can be involved at high school or middle school, or it could be just a simple math work with young children from elementary school. So it depends on the community, it depends on the course, it depends on the students' interest and support from the professor.
Okay, many thanks for your answer. I think we don't have questions on our YouTube. So I would like to thank you, Professor Edgington and Professor Koptelov.
Daria,
Yes?
Daria, you have a hand raised.
We are sorry. Yes, please.
People always forget about me and don't pay attention on me.
I probably need to stop.
So thank you so much, Bill, and thank you so much, Andrey, for your really brilliant presentation. And I just, while you were speaking, I find a lot of links with the previous presentations that we had at this symposium. First, that idea of community project was very close to the idea, just was exposing the idea of implementing the mission of the university that Dr. O'Hara from Ireland was speaking in the first day, and your projects focused on Spanish-speaking communities are very close to the section that we had about the culturally responsive leadership. And so it just, I'm really happy that we have your presentation today in the end of the day here in Moscow and the beginning of the day in the States, because it's like shows that we have really common understanding and common space in this conference. And it's really pity that you were not able, due to the time difference, you were not able to attend the previous presentations. And I just hope that next year we will have a chance to invite you here in Moscow to the face-to-face conference. And I actually had a question, and generally Dr. Koptelov answered in his last slides, but I will still ask it maybe a bit more specifically. I was thinking about the benefits in terms of professional training that your students have from those projects, and you generally answered on it. And just one more specific question: are you assessing it somehow, or are you including those activities to the students' portfolios, or just to some special practice, or so? Is there any formal way that you include those projects into the teacher preparation program? And do you have any kind of assessment how successful or how involved they are?
Yes, after this, the project that I just described from our presentation, we did a post-survey for our students. They needed to complete, we call it reflections and self-evaluation. There were a few items that they have to elaborate on. For example, what did you find for yourself as a future teacher from this work that you did with the senior citizen? What challenges did you have? What would you modify in this particular project for the next year or next semester? What would you exclude? Would you like to be involved in the same kind of project or similar projects once again? So it was a pretty broad reflection and self-evaluation the students completed, and at the same time, this information was a part of their, we call it capstone project. It's a big project that students complete at the very end of their work at the university, where they include many different components, including certification and digital literacy, community involvement activities, and many others. So it was a component that they were able to include in their capstone as well.
And I would mention also that the Center for Community Engagement, which we mentioned at the very start, that is university-wide, certainly offers any assistance with assessment or data collection, or any ways that more data, which would lead to a better understanding of what we're doing. And we're very fortunate, and our college as well, our College of Education, has a center of assessment they would be happy to help as well.
And so, Bill, just one more question about this center. So it's like you have a specific, I don't know, branch or just specific institution inside the university which is responsible for community engagement.
Yes, they are funded through the university. There is a director, and they are willing to help in any way they can.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really very useful, and I hope we will prolong this conversation next year.
Thank you for inviting us, and it is great to see you again, even it's virtually online, and looking forward to meet you in person.
Many thanks again, and I would like just to add a few words to what Igor said. Really, during these 2 days, we have several times mentioned the topic of collaboration with senior citizens and with migrant flows, because their numbers grows, and what Sam Houston State University you have an opportunity to give this practice for your students before they graduate, because while studying the school principles working with the migrant children, we found out that they don't have enough training until they start working with these children. And also we have listened to the University of Taipei presentation, and they have program of integrated learning when the preschool children have classes together with the senior citizens. And it's highly important to know your experience while students have this chance. So when they graduate, they already experience with working with these different groups. And I think we should take something from your experience in the programs that we have, because we also have Silver University at Moscow City University, but mostly our graduates work with senior citizens and not the current students. And many thanks again, Professor Edgington, Professor Koptelov, for your wonderful and exciting presentation and being with us at the fourth symposium, and hope that the next year we will meet personally, that it would be not the online and offline event.
Yes.
Thank you.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Спасибо.